Oh man, I yesterday and today I burned the pots. Two fucking pots. First time in my life I burned the fucking pots. It did happen. One plastic was already broken. There were people already cleaning the burned pots. One of them was Božičnik, who was giving me a lesson on how to clean. Another one who was here was um, doesn't come to me right now the name. Uh, Anyhow, here, mother told me, here is the psychiatric pills I will get ready for you. Yeah, it really looks like one of the pills. The medications she prepared, it's here, all based on MK Ultra stuff. And she even lifted the vinyl from what inspector appears still did not go to inspect, still didn't come to inspect. Right there it is, waiting for the inspector to come. And so mama is in her, she doesn't stop with the stuff that she obviously herself in. She loves psychiatry. She loved psychiatry. She saw herself in a psychiatry. She barely completed the grammar school. I cannot blame her. I can really not blame her. My mama did barely completed the high school, grammar school. She's got but 2 years after the grammar school, and I'm not sure if she has that. Um, I have to be easy on her as far as this stuff here. I'm trying to figure out the name that also was doing the stuff in our house, who also was cleaning. And they told me if you're going to use Joe Biden had a lot to tell about that stuff. If you're going to use the wooden made, whatever you call this, it doesn't come to me, kuhans or whatever, spoon, whatever. Make sure you throw one away when you go and you put the stuff inside and you mix that stuff for the burn stuff to come up to the surface, because he claimed it goes inside of the wood, which is true, and it doesn't come out anymore. It just sticks in there. It absorbs, the wood absorbs that liquid and it stays in there. Poison, basically poison spoon. So what I did was I used first for the first finish removal. Yeah, actually now the spoon even looks like new. I used this here. I, that rough paper, whatever that is, Schmirgelpapier. Then also knife to scrub the surface, and completely renovated one. But I was not that lucky with the pot. Pot is still needs work. Uh, I didn't do well with the pot. Yeah. Anyhow, it happened many times, and I'm not the first one. Beto is his name. Berto. Berto is his name, who insisted that the wooden spoon must be just thrown away. Don't bother with it because it's a. He was showing me something during MK Ultra. I don't know what the fuck he did with the spoon. But this is all the stuff they were doing during MK Ultra. Because I burned one dish like that, I positioned one inside here so that when I was doing the cleaning, the chemicals would, as much as dissipate as possible, dissolve themselves in the water as much as possible. Of course, that once you clean the burned dish, you do have to boil one again to get all those chemicals out, basically detergent, that kind of stuff, right? So I wasn't using much. I was just using vinegar, detergent, and soda, bicarbonate. I didn't have much to use. Um, yeah, I might have. Yeah, that's really bad too. I don't know. I might have placed inside also detergent for the um, actually for the rust. No, actually for the might have been for the this kind of grease remover and stuff like that. What's that like? I don't know. This is what I was using to, and then you put this on a boiling temperature, right? You put it on a boiling temperature, and whatever is black that is from burning on the dish, it comes out. I have witnessed during MK Ultra at least to 30 times police doing exactly what I have gone through. They destroyed the dishes here. Stoyan Pevets, police officer, was the first one who had a problem with it because he demonstrated me by going to pick up his wife when I was still in a high school, and he would go pick up his wife, and he was the one who was teaching me, you have to cook the potato, prepare the stuff before your wife comes home. This was in respect to his daughters. His daughters were small, but frequently people had children involved in MK Ultra that presented to me as a wives. This was just a normal thing during MK Ultra. And also for the mama, so the mama would not work and so on, and he would stash with a potato and then just let boil and go with the car around with me. And then he would return and all the time would talk about this potato so that it would not burn and stuff like that. He wasn't the only one who was doing this. This is the stuff that goes to, it was other guys who did that too, police officers. It goes to 1988, 1987. That's how far they started to burn and play with the dishes that were burned, but basically removing the stuff from them. Do you understand me? That's what the fuck went on inside of this house, except that they were using all kinds of chemicals and poisoned with during MK Ultra. And that's exactly what my mother have done. And I thought I'm gonna fucking die yesterday from the heart complications. The day before yesterday, when she already removed the food, she took the dish from here that was inside in here and did not give one time to boil one, actually, to get the chemicals out. And I placed one in there because the dish was not even ready. The dish was not cleaned up yet. That stuff is just not enough. I don't know which one it is, but I didn't do the job because I didn't have what it takes to remove this stuff. I didn't have the right stuff to remove it. I don't know which one she used. It is, however, the first time in my lifetime, that one day after another, I did burn the dishes. One time after another, I did this stuff. The people who burned dishes tutored me, such as this, let's say, Beto. His name is Berto, who was involved in this stuff. He was doing exactly the same stuff. They were teaching me to, if you clean the dish afterwards that is burned, they were teaching me to make sure that
if you use the spoon with spoon to just throw them away and buy another one. This is not the spoon I have used. He demonstrated me the spoon that he had during MK Ultra was completely fucked up. This is the one I used, also for cleaning. And it's not dry here because once I was done doing this stuff, cleaning therefore with it, I would take a sandpaper and I sanded it out, everything, all the chemicals, because those chemicals goes inside of the spoon, you know. But what I did was I make sure that I would sand it out, this stuff. It looks, still it's here, you can see from what I did afterwards, so that I furnished this literally into a new state, this spoon, wooden made spoon. And then I would use also a knife to literally go and just scrap off, you know, those whatever is left from the wood, like those micro, you know, to scrub it off. And then what I used also was a towel to completely remove this, this stuff. And of course, in the water, rinse it off away so that absolutely there will be no trace of the chemicals inside in here. So, but what mother did is exactly what I explained. I thought I'm gonna fucking die. Božičnik was the one who was tutoring me about this stuff here, about this covers. Exactly, this is what he was playing with. He was playing with this thing. He had a problem. He seems to have burned the dishes. They were deliberately destroying the stuff, burning the stuff. Likely they were using other stuff, not our stuff. There wasn't only the MK Ultra clothing, but there obviously was also, when it comes to the dishes also, they were doing. The lady police officer who sold me the car who also had a problem with this. They had a number of people who had a problem with dishes over the course of the years. Joe Biden was the one who was teaching me, in a parenthesis, teaching me, this is poisoning, I hope you understand. This is very dangerous stuff that I must absolutely throw away the wooden spoon if that happens, and was teaching me about that this is the most dangerous stuff in a person. This is what they were video recording themselves with, giving useful instructions. In the end, for doing the job, for cleaning everything up, I got poisoned with the mother who prepared the very next day a meal, food that appears was full of those chemicals. Notable for me to say, the feeling that I had was very much feeling the one from MK Ultra that I had when I thought that my heart is gonna simply, it was just going like it's gonna rapture itself in that sense. This shit they did more than 30 times till they actually got warning. Not the warning, but till Americans and British told them, it's enough, it's okay. It's enough, it's okay. Burning dishes were one of the main specialties of MK Ultra. Cooking with the burned dishes were one of the main. Eating basically chemicals was one of the main things, the thing during MK Ultra, to make myself clear about this stuff. They were deliberately burning the dishes. I noticed that Božičnik deliberately burned the dish to demonstrate. They were just doing the stuff deliberately. Golubić, Golov were giving the orders to just burn stuff deliberately. With psychiatrist cops, they were just doing the stuff inside of this kitchen, cooking whichever way the fuck they wanted to present the cases. I must say that it was the first time in my life that I burned the dish, and it just happened so one day after another. Two dishes. I didn't screw it up. They were already screwed up before, but uh, they can still be cleaned. Mother told me, this is the one. This is the dish. This is the one. You see, this is, I don't have what it takes. It takes dish liquid, dishwashing liquid to get this stuff cleaned up. And this for me was not enough, anywhere even remotely enough. And yeah, at the end, it was my mom who went ahead and poisoned me with it by preparing the meat. She does not even prepare any fucking meat, really. And I felt fortunate that I'm gonna have a meat that I'm gonna eat. I went and I ate, and there were the consequences, bad fucking consequences. So yeah, if you do that stuff, you always have to cook afterwards and stuff to get the chemicals out. So, like everybody, like every idiot knows. And so I paid the price basically just for leaving the dish inside of that bucket right there. That was it. The next day, um, I got a bananas. Um, the next day I got a bananas. I never get any kind of bananas. I get bananas. The last time I got them was maybe a month earlier or something like that. And before that, it was probably 1 year ago when I got bananas. Probably more than a year ago when I got bananas. And this was a husband from my niece who stated that bananas are really good for my heart after observing these people to poison me time and again. This parasite, Mitya Weber is his name, he frequently witnessed the stuff that went on inside of our house and was the one who told me, when you finish everything, I will tell everything about what went on. I will be the first one who will tell everything about what went on. Needless to explain who this garbage is. I was clear on my blog about who he is, the stuff that he did, how he even graduated from his university, how he embedded himself in the house, our home, to destroy one, and who hired one for the work, about his family before he even get on the picture, um, before he even came to this world, practically, before he even came to this world. This is a Milan Kuchan all the way. So Milan Kuchan wanted to present the case through his own witnesses, even if confirming the stuff I stated, which is nowhere near anything about degree of terror and violence that went on. Um, Out of mouth from the people that were hired to do the stuff to me by the UDBA, by the KGB, UDBA, it would mean my end. I would not exist. My case would be completely meaningless. To me, it would be, and it really matters is to me. So I don't allow that kind of stuff. So bananas, he said, are really good. He told me during MKUltra, bananas are really good for your heart. They're really good for your heart. So you see, I got ABC of everything. First time in my life I burned the dishes. First time in my life I burned the dishes. And it was two separate dishes that still needs to be cleaned up, just as I demonstrated. That's one and that's another one. I don't have the money to go buy. And yeah, the food that comes home, it's all the food that mother purchases. And it just happened so, and I'm glad it happened so. Um, Few days ago, therefore, the day before yesterday and the day before the day yesterday, I don't know how to explain this. One time after another, it happened to me that I burned the dishes. And so this is how I ended up going to the internet. Even my internet service provider can confirm, even to do the search on how to uh, how to clean the fucking dish after you burn one. It seems to me that before this shit ended, that stuff had to happen. I think it's very, very meaningful God message I got about also about the stuff that went on, and that I don't have to thank anybody for telling about what went on. Not to the people like this. Not to the people like this. Not to the people that did so much harm, so much damage. We're gonna do this kind of stuff here. This is what I was complaining about. This is very, very real. This stuff is very, very real. This is exactly the way it was, this stuff. This is the way it went. This is precise about what went on. If nothing other, Mother was reminding me of the rotten chicken that went on during MK Ultra. If there was no rotten chicken available, Mother was reminding me of one. That's precisely about the stuff. And the rotten chicken, even if it was a rotten chicken, was a blessing, because honestly, there was close to no fucking chicken whatsoever during MK Ultra. There was really, really nothing that went on. They were tutoring me how to live healthy through the poisoning. Poisoned and tutored about what is healthy for me to eat, I guess, to live as long as possible to get the case done. Because this is how they do. What they do is they get the case done, they get the statements about the crime, about what happened, and then as they projected, they're going to be fucking with me through the surgical tables, surgeries, that kind of stuff. Going to spend their life inside of the hospitals on a surgical tables, having kidneys, liver, heart replaced, and so on. Peacemakers, all kinds of fucking makers. Just like the song here, you know? Or this guy says, date of birth, date of death, and the line. And the line is what life is. Life crossed out. Yeah, that's what he was very poetic about to talk to me. And this is a little song. You can get it translated by yourself. I will post the video right above this this post so that you can understand the meaning of one. The King Charles was not worried about anything. King Charles promised me he's going to replace me absolutely everything. That everything he can replace me, except there is one thing he cannot replace me, and that's my brain. He said that that's the one he didn't figure out yet how to. So this truly was a god. This was a god. Because that's how he saw himself. And he did have my life in his hands. The way he treated my life was like a British god. You know, like a British god. And you already know the British god. The British god is the one, the Hitler, the neo-Nazi, the one they supported during the World War II. The British god is the one, the Rhodes is the British god, is the one that colonized, killed millions and millions of people throughout the world. The British one, yeah, he is a god. He is God, all right, a British. He was right. Charles was correct about it. Let's do this cleaning dish burn. I want to do this stuff so that I know when exactly did this how to remove burned food from pot. It was on a May the 7th. So that was 5 days ago. 5 days ago I burned a pot. For the first time in my life, I took the lesson on how to remove the burns from the pot, because you can do, there is a way to get it removed. That was on a May 20, and the day before yesterday, actually after that, which must have been 20, it must have been on a 21st that I burned again, 20 on a 20 and on a 21st, two different pots. Something that police was completely insane about. They were crazy about, because the subject that I'm talking about was incredible. With Buzhichnik, with the police officer Buzhichnik demonstrating me how to remove the burns from, the cover of the pot. He was doing that stuff like crazy, and they took the pot apart and so on. They burned the food in our house and treated afterwards food with it through the burnt pots for at least 60 times that I can tell. It was 60 to 90 times, and it's probably 90 times, not 60 times. With neighbor Igor Kotar, is a physician, is a doctor, Igor Kotar, who was coming in our house to administer the stuff, to watch the stuff. Novo Mesto police, neighbors such as Andrei Ul, police, Igor Kotar participated absolutely always watching the burnt pots, play with the burnt pots. Psychiatrist Kopsh, Gregor Golubic was obsessed with the idea. It was by far burnt pots, play with the burnt pots, cooking with the burnt pots was the favorite of Gregor Golubic. 60 to 90 times, for sure. Gregor Golubic, Robert Golob, now Slovenian Prime Minister Robert Golob. The people that, if you would say they did the stuff like this, you would be deemed as crazy, as insane. This is exactly what the definition of the schizophrenia is. It's always a paranoia. It's always a schizophrenia. It's always a mental illness. When you have a case like this, it's always a type of people that run the whole thing. It's always what they search from victims to point the fingers at people that are very visible. They're not hiding. They're right on the stage. They're right on the stage, on the center stage. It's a schizophrenia, right? It's a schizophrenia. These are the criminals that were obsessed with this idea. It stopped. This stuff happened to me first time in my lifetime. And it stopped with involvement of Americans who observed this stuff from very up closely, and also British. Therefore, it was also done in coordinates with Americans, with the British. British might have even enforced from Slovenian side to get it done through the stuff that I stated. It's very unclear to me who was more insane in this thing, because this is the kind of stuff you just don't play. Americans were not trying to stop this. They created this stuff. They did this stuff. Central American agencies, CIA, enforced this stuff. This was the thing to do. And they did this to help Russians, to help Slovenian side, to help the Serbs. It was a form of the government assistance to the government. That's what this was all about.